These days, your calendar is supercharged, and you find yourself having to pencil in when you need to breathe. As we're always moving and grooving between our offices, homes, studio, and out, we could all take some moments to spend time and hear from our faves in pop culture on what they're up to and how they keep it together as well. I'm your host, Kimmy Smith, a celeb fashion stylist, co-founder and creative style director of Athleisure Mad, co-executive producer and host of a number of shows in our multimedia podcast network, Athleisure Studio. When you plug into Bungalow SK, you'll get to hang out with those that, regardless of their background, are juggling their busy lives and have words of empowerment to keep us motivated throughout our day. On today's episode of Bungalow SK, we delve into the power of the subconscious, going with your gut, and leaning into your intuition. We sit down with celebrity hypnotherapist to a number of celebs, athletes, and CEOs, Kimberly Friedmutter. We find out how this skill can assist us through all aspects of our lives, how we're able to enhance this ability, and using a checklist to ensure that we are optimizing it as well. Kimberly shares all of this, talks about her new book, Subconscious Power, which is out now, and loops us in on where she loves hanging out in Las Vegas as well as in Malibu. For those that are not familiar with hypnotism, what is that? What does it entail?
So hypnosis is really a state of relaxation and a deep state at times. Like I've literally had clients snoring and drooling, and then I've had clients stare back at me and they're relaxed.
Oh,
but,
wow.
There's different levels just to explain that. And it's really, so when people say, well, what is trance? And is trance, a positioning that I'm putting myself in where you can make me do things I don't want to do against my will, right?
I was a little nervous.
Right. Much like when people see it in entertainment or
Correct.
they see it, portrayed in a film, it's a swinging watch and a dark robe and a cloak, and
Exactly.
a hoodie is involved. And so it's absolutely not the way it is.
Okay.
And it's a natural state of being. So for example, when you're just getting ready to wake up and you have that floaty feeling, that's trance. When you're just getting ready to drift off to sleep and you're not really conscious, but you're not really unconscious, that's trance. And so it's basically setting the conscious thought aside so that you're more suggestible, so that you're open to more things. Now, this is also why people abuse drugs. They like that feeling. And so when you can do that naturally, how wonderful.
Right.
So you don't have to use substance to get there. It's this beautiful natural state that we possess. Think of it in terms of when you're watching a film and you know the actors are the actors and you shed a tear anyway. You're emotionally caught up in it. They've entranced you.
Wow.
Mesmerized being at a concert. Everyone's waving their hands in sync, with their phones on flame and everything. And then your favorite entertainer, hits the high note and everybody, it's just this moment of euphoric feeling where you're so relaxed that you feel like you're having this out-of-body experience.
So that's like in meditation sometimes when they're bringing you back from meditation to like get up and sit around. Sometimes I do feel a little floaty and I never thought that's trance. I was
Right,
just
and
like,
you are in trance in meditation.
Right.
Exactly.
Wow.
Now, the difference between hypnosis and meditation is simply that meditation is the zoning in on thought or in on non-thought. So, for example, think of the breath, don't think thoughts.
Correct.
Whereas trance is let it all come and zone out. So the zoning out is likening to daydreaming.
Right.
So when you're daydreaming, you're not monitoring those daydreams, you're just letting it go. You're in a flow. And that flow is trance as opposed to meditation where you're linearly guiding something through to happen or not happen.
How did you get into working within this field, and then how did you educate yourself? Like, what types of things do you do to be who you are?
So I would like to say that education really formed this now in the structure of which I sit, and it did have a part of it, but really the clients are the ones who really gave me the breadth of knowledge and getting in there and really exploring. So to answer your question, I had a radio talk show in Los Angeles on KLSX 97.1 FM, and it was the only FM talk station at the time, and it was considered the Howard Stern station because that's where he was projecting from.
I like that.
And so
It's a good way to say
it. And so that was that, and this was simply continuing education for the radio show. However, previous to that, I'd been hypnotized for a lot of different things, one of which was stage fright.
Wow.
I know. I wanted to shrink in instead of expand out.
Exactly.
And so I didn't want to have that be an issue. And so I was a product of hypnosis, and I thought, wow, is that all there is to it? Let's see if it works. Because,
Wow.
we are taught in our society, no pain, no gain, no guts, no glory. And it's absolutely not the truth. And so knowing that, I thought, let's just see what happens. And now you kind of can't shut me up. I'm all over the place. So clearly healed.
So it has long-term effects.
Oh, yeah. No, it can
Wow.
be the only thing you ever do if you want it to be. I happen to take direction well,
Right.
which is also, people will sometimes ask, why do you focus on high-performing professionals and
I was
individuals
just gonna ask you that, yeah.
Yeah, individuals that have really made a name for themselves in the world. And the reason is exactly that, because I know they'll do it. And I know that they take direction. They look for information from others. They're not arguing their
Right.
position and arguing their limitations.
Is it
And
hard
it's
for
important.
a type A person to release to do that? Like, I'm a type A person, so
Okay.
would I have a harder time adopting the principles to do it? You know what I mean? Like,
No, because type A's are seeker, searcher, learners. Type A's are out there for the game. They're out to
Yeah.
win it, and they are out there to succeed.
Right,
And
right.
so, oh yeah,
by any
whatever.
means whatever works would be the best.
Right, and
Interesting.
also we kind of say, when we say by whatever means necessary, we kind of seem like this is, pulling our teeth, or it could be
Right.
something, surgical. It's not. It's non-invasive. It doesn't
Right.
hurt. It's 100% organic, 100% natural, 100% sustainable.
Wow.
And you are literally able to keep it private, because it's in your mind.
Exactly.
So you don't have to telescope it
Wow.
out. But the thing is that we all have that search for inner peace, that search for inner happiness, whatever it is, and we all deeply know what that takes to get there. We
Right.
really do. We have the answers already.
Right.
So something like hypnosis just gives you that little prod to give you permission that it's okay to release those things, and it's
Wow.
okay to feel this way. My husband was hypnotized for 20 minutes. He's an attorney. Ah, that's not my husband. I don't know whose husband that is. That was interesting. I have had other husbands, and they weren't attorneys either. I don't know where that came from. Weird. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to have to explore that later. But my husband is an architect, the other A word.
In my head I was like, wait, I must have taken my notes wrong.
No, you're like, are you Kimberly? I don't really know who I am right now. I'm kind of embarrassed and happy all at the same time. It's a weird feeling. So, two things. One, my husband is an architect.
Yes.
And so he's very linear, and everything is fact with him, right? And so everything is very structured and is very planned, very conscious. All of that comes from your consciousness. Subconscious is touchy-feely. It's your emotions. It's how you run your body. It's all of those things. And he was hypnotized for 20 minutes, and he lost 60 pounds, and then he became an attorney. No, just kidding.
Right. I was like, wait.
No, so not an attorney, but he lost 60 pounds after being hypnotized for 20 minutes. Now, this is that kind of character, though. He's a seeker, searcher, learner person, type A, but also an attorney. So it just shows you that. And
architect.
No, architect. I'm going to make him an attorney. I was just going to tell you that the book came up on the top 10. I think it was like number 3 or 4. Maybe you remember. But it was one of the 1 in 10, and I know it was before 5, of the top 10 books that every lawyer should read.
Oh,
and
that's
then
interesting.
the top 25 books that America's leading CEOs are reading. So it did this very interesting crossover with men in business. And it did this very interesting crossover. So it's a great gift for men. It's a great gift for boys coming up that need to learn, particularly the Give to Get chapter. I will be happy to point out. Right. So it's not a gender-specific book, but there are very, very, very good chapters and principles in each for each. So that I like to stress, because men really do get it, and it does make transformative changes in them too. You know, women like to corner intuition. We say, "Oh, women's intuition, and aren't we so smart? And don't we use our gut and our impulses and all those things?" But the truth is, we all have the machinery, we all have the mechanism, and it's a beautiful thing. And you do want your partner, your brother, your uncle, all of those people, to every attorney in your life. You want them all to, rise up to this, because when we're all going the same speed on the freeway, we can all do the same things and not be hassled by the one that doesn't.
I like that because
yet.
my co-founder of the magazine and the podcast is also an attorney in real life.
Maybe is that a she or he?
He.
Oh, so maybe I'm channeling him.
Maybe you're
right now.
channeling him because yes, we are always doing various things between trademarks and different things like that and contracts and all these things, and he's always reading different types of books for self-help, and he is he's not so much a gut-oriented person, but he is a very emotional, like always tapping into what other people are doing and thinking of others ahead of himself. And
that's interesting.
So it'll be interesting as him and I will read this together to see kind of how does that work between the two of us. But maybe you're channeling him.
He's coming through loud and clear because I don't I do find myself to be quite intuitive.
Mm-hmm.
However, that would be extraordinary if I'm pulling on someone.
Yes.
Is he single? Because
well, he's my boyfriend as well.
He is. Okay, so he's kind of married, because married in spirit.
Yes.
Because I was going to say this attorney is married that I'm thinking of. Okay,
yes, we've been together for it'll be 9 years.
So it is him I'm channeling then, because you're attached to him.
Yes.
Okay, so he's here.
And literally, I was texting
Isn't it
him.
wild how that works?
Well, that's why she kept doing it, and I was just like,
No, I know, and I can't, and I'm
and
so
you kept
smart.
saying it, and
I know,
I'm just
I'm
like,
smart enough to not say it.
Right.
And I kept saying it.
And I'm like, okay, maybe Paul's like stepping through.
Seriously. That is so cool.
Which is why I brought it up, because I'm just like, wait a minute.
Yeah, no, that's interesting.
Yes,
So
yes.
I delivered the message and you got it.
Yeah, because every time you just kept saying it, I'm like, is she talking about Paul right now?
See?
Because,
And it's weird because I don't know, like, a man attorney. I don't have a close man attorney in
That's
my
why when
life.
you kept
I know
doing
it's not my life I'm
and
doing.
I kept reading your face and could tell that, like, you're just making this trip, but it has nothing to do, and I'm just like, it must be Paul.
I'm on your trip.
You're on my trip.
Where are we going?
I don't know. I don't know. Ask me after the Mercury in retrograde. So we know that you were talking about that people do use it for weight loss and other
sleep
issues,
and
right?
Anxiety, depression. Now, here's the neat thing about hypnosis and trance and mesmerization and all of that is that it doesn't have to be for a problem.
I was just going to ask that.
We've freed it and we've loosened it from its chains of being attached to a problem, is that it can also be for amplifying the things that you do well that you want to do better.
Wow.
So, athletic performance, for example, performance in doing a whole thing with CNBC for entrepreneurs and CEOs. And so it's for performance-based things that you want to enhance or amplify.
Wow. We do a lot with CNBC. We've had a number of covers from CNBC people. So
good. Yeah, I shot that, I think, 2 days ago.
Oh, that's what you were talking about. Perfect. That's so interesting because I had a very set connotation or idea before I came in, and hearing it now is like a powerful tool to really optimize what you're doing, whether it's positive things or negative things that you're trying to eradicate. I like that flow. It's much different than like me thinking about some 1800 style parlor trick.
Right. No. Absolutely.
And I mean that
absolutely.
like,
Yeah.
I'm literally gaining understanding. Like now I'm excited to like read about it and understand about it because I love tools that optimize and oxygenate
So
things.
this is what it is exactly. And what a great 2 words you just said, the 2 O words. How wonderful. Because here's the thing. I say if I brought in this fine piece of machinery and I set it right here in front of us and I said, here's the plug, here's the machine, and here's the manual. You're going to take the book, you're going to read how to use it, but you have it. I'm not selling you the thing, right? It's not the widget, and I wish I did because, oh my gosh, everybody has it. You can't, no neurosurgeon or scientist can touch it, or you can't buy it, you can't find it, you can't even get rid of it when you have it. Wow. Everybody has it. So now it's about plugging in your own mechanism, utilizing your best resources, because here's the thing. One thing I discovered is that we're all interested in ourselves, and the second thing I discovered is we all want an easy, happy life. Big deal, right? Not rocket science. How do we get there? So simple. You have the mechanism to do it. You have the ability to do it. It's the use of it that we don't know. So all of our finest technology and all of our software and hardware and all these beautiful things, nothing comes close to the mind.
Right.
And you take it with you. It's already packaged. It's compact. It weighs 3 pounds. It's 4 inches by 4 inches. Some debate 6, I guess, depending on how big your head is. And off you go. You don't have to pack it. You can't forget it. It's with you from the point of conception. Science will say point of conception until the time that we transition. Some believe that it goes on, which is why I have the soul spirit section in here about Muhammad Ali and Mike Tyson. You'll see that I have terrific blurbs from Jennifer Hudson and Martha Stewart, Michael Beckwith, who I'm sure you know.
Yes.
He actually married me to the architect. Yes,
Wow.
he was our pastor. Yeah,
That's
Michael
fantastic.
Beckler. Yes, because I was an agape partaker.
Wow.
So, yes. And so I have a lot of Hollywood support for this because these people get it. They're so creative and they're so interesting. They have these big lives and a lot of them big problems. And no different than the rest of us. We all have the same issues. It's just we're watching them. You know, the focus is on the high performing individual. So, you know, the whole thing is that it's so simple to use it. And then, okay, so finding lost items around the house. Who doesn't want to do that? Home or office. You can't find it, even in an email. So I was desperately, before y'all got here, trying to find this email. And I said to my husband, the architect, I said, I cannot, when he walks in the door, I'm going to say, hello, husband, the architect.
Exactly.
When I couldn't find the email, and I said to him, he said, well, is it there? Is it there? And I said, I cannot find it in this state. Now he's thinking you can't find it in your phone,
right?
You can't find it on your device. I cannot find it in this state. It won't appear in this state. Like even a machine, you know, even a device, will fritz out with that kind of nervous, frantic energy. It doesn't jive. It doesn't
how you
fly.
say that.
It doesn't. You can't get it. So you might as well adjust yourself or stop looking.
Yeah.
Don't make it harder on yourself. So I took a deep breath. I said, I can't find it. It's a book going out that's signed. And I said, it's here, but I cannot find it in this state.
Right.
So I calmed myself down. Oh, here it is.
Exactly.
You need to find it in the state of the love of it, not in the problem of it. In the find of it, not in the loss of it. Because the truth is, it's not lost.
Right.
It's in there.
You're lost. You're saying another thing. So my boyfriend, when he's upset, will fry out every electronic device. Okay. And nothing will work if he's frazzled. It's like this crazy thing. And I'm always like, you got to just calm down. Let's move the technology out of the room.
Yeah. Or you.
Or you, whichever one. I'm like, please don't touch mine because it's fine. Right. And it's like he'll shift that feeling and focus and it's fine. But the minute he's annoyed, I'm just like, the TV won't turn on. Exactly. It's so interesting. So we always joked about him being like an X-Men or a Marvel guy.
Something, some superhero.
And I'm like, there has to be something that kinetically, I don't know.
Energy. So here's what happens. Anything that works on energy works on energy. Anything that works on energy fries out when there's too much. We had a kind of an interesting and scary incident where a camera would have caught this incident, and the camera did not catch it. Now, it's a wireless system. Right. And the camera, I had a dog groomer at the house coming and going. Of course, it caught her, you know, here's a dog, take a dog, here's a dog. It didn't catch the event. Now, I didn't bring my phone. I didn't worry about it because I knew the camera was getting the whole thing anyway. Right. What did I care? It didn't. So that gives great pause to energy and keeping it cool. And it shows you that life ultimately won't work with that energy. So and again, to make your life easy, so finding great parking spaces, knowing when you meet someone, are they good for me in the short term, the midterm, or the long term? Think of the time savings alone if you'll allow. We have this far-reaching ability to ascertain information and impressions that we don't have access to.
So what made you create this book? What led for all of this to come together for that?
So I was approached by a woman at HarperCollins initially, and she asked if I would do this. She had seen me online and learned about my practice and whatever. And so I said, absolutely. And so in getting the group together and all the structure and figuring out the 6 principles and all of that, it took about a year to take my practice and really, you know, what's masticatable, what's digestible here that we can chew on. Wow. And so by the time I handed in the proposal to her, she had left HarperCollins. Wow. Fine. So the agent said, this is excellent. We'll put it on the market and see what we do. And so they created this bidding situation, and Simon Schuster won it. And Atria Books are the ones, the publishing house, the imprint that did The Secret.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah. And so the beautiful thing about The Secret is that put the idea out there that yes, we can emit this desire to get whatever that is we desire to get back, which is in part my give to get principle. But the real thing is, where's that emission coming from? It's coming from your mind. And no one debates that. You know, it's very well studied. Science is all over the subconscious mind and has been forever, as you mentioned with the hypnosis. But the reality is that if you're stuck, you know, you have an addiction, and it can even be, you know, food, it can be shopping, it can be an addiction to someone. There's an exercise in the book called the saber sever, where if you have this over attachment to a person, place, or thing, you can literally call it before you, and you can detach from that thing so that you're no longer this, you know, prisoner of that attachment. Some people, you know, when I ask them to see the energetic cords, some people see like beautiful little wisps of energy, and some people see chains and you know, rope and true bondage to that thing. You know, cyber stalking is one of those where you just can't not do it sometimes, and those are the perfect candidate for that kind of exercise. There are so many little hacks, and one of the things I'm very proud of myself with the book is that you don't need paper or pen. And I wanted to make it super easy because we're so busy. And I call them shelf help books because oftentimes you feel better after you grab it, you've bought it, you're like, okay, healed, and you put it on the shelf. But the reality is, I want this to be that manual for your machinery. You already have it. This is just the how-to guide of how to manage it. Because the reality is, we want to do something that makes our life easier. And so with one thing to do, which is this, then you have 1,000 less things to do.
We know you've enjoyed listening to Bungalow SK on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and more. We've enjoyed bringing you a number of shows that have included celebrity stylist Brad Goreski, ABC's Good Doctor, as well as Wondery's legal war host Hill Harper, Paige Mykoski of Aviator Nation, and more. Athleisure Studios Podcast Network has a number of shows for you to enjoy. Our podcast, Athleisure Kitchen, focuses on top chefs, restaurateurs, and brands that we love in the food and cooking world and share their journeys forward, inspirations, and culture of their cuisine. We take you behind the scenes to some of our favorite chefs and notables in the culinary industry. Our beginning shows included Chef Marcus Samuelson while he cooks us a meal that is perfect for your next date night, as he talks about why cooking is so important to him, as well as the importance of being involved in food festivals and why he loves Harlem. Other shows have featured Food and Wine Special Projects Editor and Bravo's top chef judge Gail Simmons, as she talks about how she worked in a number of positions within food and how it brought her to our screens, even though that wasn't her plan. We also sat down with VP of Global Partnerships at Italy, Dino Bori, to find out how this culinary destination provides the foods of Italy in its stores as well as on its menus. Of course, we also talked with Top Chef winner and restaurateur Chef Brooke Williamson. And there are so many other amazing culinary stories as well. Binge these episodes and subscribe for new episodes that will drop later this season.
Yeah, because your consciousness is your task maker and your calendar keeper for the day. So that's the to-do girl, that's the type A, and that's all of that. The subconscious is more like your inner, I'll say your inner 6-year-old for you, because that was the time where you knew that you were an intuit. But the intuit and intuit, I like it. You were into it.
Yeah.
So 6 to 8 years old is that range where we have this breadth of knowledge and we have this understanding of the big picture, and we haven't yet unlearned it.
Right.
The unlearning process is what makes us cranky and crass and I know disappointed and depressed and anxious and all of those things. And so there is a chapter in the book called Tonkas and Tutus, and it's about putting your tutu back on because that's where it belongs.
Right.
And I do that as a gift of action. I had a girlfriend that was having a birthday, and so I brought 25 colorful tutus that light up with LED lights because let me tell you, we were the most like obnoxious, like irritated, resentful group of people, right? And so when you do this and you get this glory moment and you realize that's not who we are, that's not what we're doing. We're here to be beautiful and shining little creatures of light and to be just this magnificent being that when you feel like inside, you know, that you of you that's almost sometimes clawing to get out and says, you know, help me, I'm in here, you know, could you please leave the lights on for me, I'm still here, right?
Yes, exactly.
And so with that beacon and beckoning, the girls all put on their tutus, there were tears, I gave handfuls of glitter, we threw them up, we took photos. It was the most beautiful time because, you know, sickness, you know, children sick, divorce, loss of job, all of these things that can happen in the course of a lifetime if you've really, you know, played that life, can really get to you. And it's time. And I saw a real destructive nature inside us that was, you know, that most people feel at some time. And it doesn't have to be. So we started using the tutu as the metaphor Then
Wow.
the tutu became our vernacular for, we'd call each other and, how you doing today? Oh, I cannot wait to get to my tutu. Or, I ripped my tutu off today because I really meant to keep it on, but I just couldn't hold it together and this and that. All of those things. Once I get to my tutu, I'll be better. All of those, beautiful expressions of what we're going through and how we feel. For the men, of course, it's the Tonka truck. And people, because it's neat. I was in the airport and this was inspired by these two little girls that slammed together. They were about 8 years old, and they just slammed together, and they squealed so loud. And it was in one of those kind of telescopic areas of the terminal where there's multiple gates in a rounded area. And so the girls slammed together and they screamed and squealed and I knew you'd come, and they slammed into each other and held each other. And I thought, oh my gosh. And you could see everybody, businessmen, everyone setting their bags down, looking. It was like this wow moment of like everybody just stopping in time to watch this beautiful interaction. And I thought, I want to feel that way. I want to feel that way about somebody. I want to feel that way, period. And I thought, that's the magic. The magic isn't gone. It's just covered up with the conscious mind stuff. It's just layered on top of it, and it can be heavy.
Yeah.
And I have had, people that I've known recently just decide it's not worth it, and that's very sad. It's sad because they couldn't pull her up, and they couldn't pump life into her again, and breath into her again. And, that's the shame. So I'm here to remind you, she's alive and well.
Yeah.
He's alive and well. They're in there. Honor it. Go for it. The book explains how to do that. It's not hokey when you read it. It's very clear, and you'll really, really get it. It's a practice of self.
Yeah. Wow. Do you envision making another book? Are you already working on another book?
Yes, actually, we're talking about it. Yes, absolutely. We're already lining up the direction that'll go. Because your first is and this is, I'm a first-time author, is the cornerstone.
Exactly.
And that's the base information, and then from there we fly.
What are the 6 principles that ignite the unconscious mind, and can you walk us through that?
Sure, gladly. So the first one is coming into accountability. And that's really the first step of, I think, everything that's meaningful, because we need to know where we are. Even when you plug in maps, it says your location.
Yep.
So the first principle really is that, your location.
Wow.
And so I want you to be able to look at yourself wholly and holistically and for real, warts and all, we say, because the reality is that we can't do the work until we know just what it is. And I don't even really like calling it work because it feels so effortless. The second principle is tapping into your subconscious. That's very obvious. A lot of people don't understand what it is or how powerful, i.e. your envelope exercise, how much power you have. And also, I'm here just to tell you that you're right. When you thought about Aunt Sue and she called and all those things we discussed earlier, you're right. You're right. Do you have to see it consciously that you were right in order to be right? Does something bad have to happen? Do you have to wait it out? Do you have to have that physical convincing truth, or can you just say already, I'm fantastic. This is my machinery. This is my mechanism. This is my divinity. This is who I am. This is what I came in with. We're not saying you created it and developed it and put it out all over the earth. We're just saying you have it. You got it.
Wow.
Like the real original X Factor. You have that. The third principle is, do you move toward or away? Now, I like this one a lot because it's about orientation. So you have coming into accountability, you have tapping into your subconscious. Where's your orientation? So, for example, in maps, again, you would orient toward the direction you want to go. You do not plug into maps that you want to get away from where you just were. Okay, so when it says, where are you headed to? You don't say, I'm headed away from
That's true.
point A.
Right, exactly.
You say, I'm going to point B, and you log it in.
Yep.
So when you're constantly looking at your life in retrospect, and you see that you've been flinging yourself away from circumstances, chances are you're flinging into something, maybe the unknown, which is okay, but if you're not happy where you are, that very well could be the reason why, as opposed to focusing on where you want to go and going. So orientation of self is hugely important. The next one is, and this is sticky and everybody goes, and they throw their hands up, is judge thy neighbor and thyself. Judge thy neighbor as thyself. So the point of this is that we've let our judgment go by the wayside, just like we're not biting our girlfriend when she makes us mad. So in this, I say you must use ecology of judgment for yourself. once you talk to someone who's unhappy, once you explore a little bit about someone's chronic unhappiness, they'll often tell you that they made this mistake in judgment, they made that mistake. Look at Judge Judy. So I talk about her in the book a lot because she, not only is she magnificent, but the show itself garners so much attention. And why? Because the show shows us, did you use the best judgment for your ecology, your survival, your success, et cetera, et cetera. That's all she wants to show. Did you use good judgment? And those judgments that she calls on, as far as like you have to pay, you don't, is simply who used the judgment and who didn't. Sometimes what the thing that happened is the person didn't actually, have an unlawful experience. They just used such poor judgment that she finds them anyway. It's like she's going to teach you out of your own issue. So judgment is super important, and I show you how to do that, and I show you how to judge energetically. So when you meet someone, are they good for me in the midterm, the short term, the long term, etc. Also, a judgment about privacy. Let's be a little bit particular about the what, who, when, where, and why. Please.
Like that.
It's helpful for us because here's the thing. You have this beautiful little 8-year-old inside of you. If you had a physical 8-year-old next to you, would you look at the things you look at, listen to the things you listen to, hang out with the people you hang out with, go the places you go? I think not. And we really feel like we're big stuff. And the truth is we are that beautiful little creature inside. And so we need to use better ecology of judgment for her and for him. The next one people love is give to get. Now, this is that energetic cycle. This is that loop. So if I hold both your hands, you and I form a loop. So energy's running through your body, through my body, back to your body, through my body. If we let go and you stretch your arm out, it doesn't have any place to generate, and it doesn't have any place to recirculate. Right? So if you give to me, let's say you have both hands on my one hand, and you give, and I'm like, la, 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 and it's all running out of me, then you're not getting.
Exactly.
And same thing if I do this and you let that go, it's all running out.
Wow.
So even like the tomato plant gives in death. So for example, the tomato grows, it falls off the vine and it dies and it becomes fertilizer for the new plant. Giving and getting is a universal law. Women are the worst at getting because they just don't want to say it. They want to give out. And they literally give to the point of exhaustion and lack. And then that throws us into the next chapter, which is drought. And when a woman is in drought, I say, what kind of a giver and a getter are you? Are you getting and are you giving? Sometimes the biggest people who don't get are the least givers. And you have to give. It's got to be a flow. There's got to be symbiosis. There has to be this management of energy that flows in, flows out, flows in. I was reading a thing recently and it was saying, that in the old day they'd say cash is king and now cash flow is king. Why? Because flow of anything is king.
Exactly.
Flow keeps us going. If I get, I distribute to you. If you get, you distribute to me. So it's this movement that we're in, and it's a universal law. Again, I didn't make this up. I just recognize it as a point of happiness. When people ask, in our marriage, I'm married to a generous husband, an architect, and and so what's neat about that is that he understands flow. And so people say, well, how did you get what you have? And I say, I asked. I made it known. He's not a psychic. He's an architect.
You have to be very specific to let people, because how can people understand?
Well, and they appreciate it.
Exactly.
How many girlfriends have birthdays and you say, what would you like? Oh, nothing. I'm good.
I'm always like, no, this is exactly what I want.
And
maybe this, but not anything outside of those two things. Or it will be sent back.
Right. Some version of Sephora or whatever.
Like,
it could be anything broad. But the thing is, too, is the last principle is play big. And this is in that, too, is you deserve to get and you deserve to give. It's all this loop. So playing big is the final and last sixth principle. And the idea with playing big is not posturing. It's not puffing. It's not any of that. What it really is show up. Show up for me, show up for you. Because the reality of that situation of showing up is that we all need each other. We all should have our head above the weeds. We're in a time where we feel like social and this collective consciousness and this togetherness and all of that, that's fine, but we must rise in that. And in that, it's go for your dreams. hate to even say the word attorney now because it's going to seem like it's part of that joke, but I laugh because people will come to me and they'll say, look, I'm an attorney and now I want to become an actor. I am a financier person and now I want to write music. And they're so afraid to say it, and they're so afraid to show up in the arts that way. And this is going from a linear protocol to a touchy-feely protocol, and it's a perfect example and real because people want to feed their heart and soul. They're ready. Yeah. And so it's good to have that kind of thing as a hobby and be smart about what you're doing to feed yourself. But at the same time, that playing big is really honoring that thing that you love to do and need to do and were actually created to do. A lot of people started out, like I started out modeling and acting. Marianne Williamson started out playing music. Now, we all know how fantastic she is with all of the things she does. So it doesn't mean that because you start out in something, this is what you're meant to do. So show up for that thing that you're meant to do and let's get on with it. When you get to that chapter and when you get to that final principle, you're ready because all of the other clutter is gone.
I love this term, psychodermatology. What is that?
Dr. Lancer is my dermatologist. Are you familiar with him?
I've heard of Lancer. Yes.
So he wrote a blurb for the book, and what's neat about what he does is he understands how we are our face, and your face is literally just an extension of your thoughts, and actually not that far away. It's like it's the closest skin that you can get, that you can see because you can't see under your hair, and so everything right here is the path and the route that you've taken in thought. So here's the principle. The idea is that you think a thought, and that thought begins to think, and then that thought becomes your face.
I love that. No, that's true.
So I say you are not what you eat. You are definitely what you think. So the idea with skin texture and the way that the face sits, because he's a derm, he's not a plastics, but you can do a lot with derm now, is that he found that fantastic and interesting, and he has a book called Younger. And so together we were going to do a piece on that in depth. It's really neat when you start thinking about it and how, even when they look at, say, in a courtroom situation, I'm just going to be an attorney today. It's just going to happen. In a courtroom situation, when they do body language and they study, the blinking, because in anything, like the tiniest little
like the way your mouth
twitch,
goes to the left and the right, and I'm like, wait, that person's doing X, Y, and Z.
Oh yeah,
I'm very much
because you're into it. You're already in it. But the beauty of it is the subconscious wants you outed all the time because it's best for your survival. So that's why we do things. So if I'm twirling my hair, this is a subconscious thing. I don't know that I'm uncomfortable and that I'm stroking myself because it's all going to be okay. The idea that you give away constantly is just like the 8-year-old blabbing it all. How many mothers sit there and go, really, please, Johnny, do you have to talk about what happened this morning, really? And the truth is, yes, they do. Because the truth is the truth. And it has to come out in the, they say out of the mouths of babes. It's that. And so your movements, your thing, and polygraph actually is all subconscious. All of that is about your pulse and your, everything, your nervousness, heart rate, oxygen level intake, all of those things is based on subconscious, fear, fight, flight, anxiety, all of that happens through the subconscious. Even like with Norma Kamali earlier, I swear it was hot in there, but like I felt like this little thing glisten on my upper lip, and I was just like, not now, let's not do that now. She just might think that, I'm raining over here. It's probably a little bit of hormones changing, call them the hormones. But whatever it was, I was just like, not now. And I was just talking to my inner 8-year-old, like, let's not do that now. Can we just tuck our tutu in and go now? Can we do that, please? Ladies,
I love that.
Can we? Please, ladies, please.
I love it.
So that's what that is. But we could develop it more.
That's amazing. So do you have do you travel all over the country?
I do.
So what is it like? What is your day-to-day like? Or a week-to-week, depending?
Yeah, so day-to-day, I'm basically a home-type body, but I travel so much. So people always, wonder how that is. So what I do is I just make it home wherever I go. We set up camp. And the traveling is a lot of fun. So I'll try to do zones. So being here on the East Coast, I'll do the zones. So I'll contact and reach out to as many people as I feel like had wanted earlier to book, or, let's try to group it all in together. Same thing with Europe. We'll do that. There's, because I like to be accessible, and I do not like to say no.
Right.
So my tendency is to say yes first and then have it work out after. And so I've decided, and especially with Brad and his business, is that we clump things together. So the minute I have go time over here, then he'll book his things, and we just do it that way. He's got offices all over the world, so it makes it kind of easy to do that. But yeah, so that's basically how it happens. There's a few emergencies here and there. Now with FaceTime and Google Duo and all that is so easy. I can literally do that all day long.
Wow.
All day long. Because it's a thing that, especially with clients, because seeing is great, because again, all those micro movements, and I'm an expert at determining what's going on, and I use the term diagnose in, I use it loosely, not as in a medical diagnosis, but it's easy for me to see the issues. They rise up off the page like so prominently that that's my superpower.
Wow.
Is the ability to see what's going on and to get it on a cellular level. It doesn't even have to be, sometimes I can just think it before I get there. Like, I'm pretty sure that this is it. And then of course I like the confirmation that, because if I said to you, I know you don't know, but if you did know, what would it be?
Right.
That's, people go, oh wow, okay, I might as well tell you because it sounds like you know. I want to know if you didn't know, and I know you don't know, but if you did know, what would you know? Then because we all do know. That's the truth of it. I'm not teaching you anything. I'm just showing you how to use what you have.
So where are you based?
So I'm based in Los Angeles and Las Vegas.
So we always love asking people, wherever you're based, you can choose both or one. Where could we find you grabbing a meal or a cocktail, working out, or shopping?
Oh, okay. So let's see. In Las Vegas, it would probably be either Cipriani there at Wynn, or probably more likely home.
Nice.
Because home is, the home is like, again, I said I'm a homebody.
Yep.
Any philanthropic event, though, we'd probably be at in Las Vegas. We do a lot of that. So people say, do you spend a lot of time on the Strip? And so, yes, but for charity events. Really only for that. If we're having dinner or something like that, we're eating home. We eat super, super clean. And I cook a lot. It's super simple to cook like that.
Exactly.
So it really doesn't take anything, although I do pride myself. I went to chef school in Europe when I was modeling. Night school for that. I did that because I wasn't like the clubby type or, going out and meeting people. I would just kind of work and then go back to the pension. So I took night classes. And so then in Los Angeles, we love the Waldorf Astoria. We are at the Ivy on Robertson all the time. We love it there. And I think that would be probably Malibu, of course. Nobu is great.
Nice.
I have a lot of friends in Malibu. I used to live there before I met Brad. And I guess those would be the places. Oh, and shopping. You find it at Norma Kamali here in New York, because I was just there. I was so excited. So Norma walked in and we had our little visit.
Exactly.
It was so great. Now she's holding a book. And
nice.
So she's super neat. So she has a new skincare line out.
Yes.
Okay. And it's cleanser, scrub, tanner, and moisturizer. And can I say this?
Yeah.
I don't have. They gave me a sample of the tanner, but the moisturizer, whatever that's called, is made out of olive oil and
she has a lot of the olive oil base.
Olive oil and lime, and not the fruit lime, but lime, the mineral deposit lime.
Yes.
And can I just say, and that never have I felt. I even had to go and wash my hands because it was so emollient. It's so amazing. Yeah. So I'm gonna order that. I didn't run out because I was running here for that. I was like, thank you, bye. I was running so fast, but I'm going to order that right away because the smell of it, the fragrance, and the feel of it was really extraordinary. So shopping at Norma Kamali in New York City, that's my favorite thing.
Do you work out?
I do, every day, a few hours a day.
Nice.
Yeah. So I do a Pilates yoga hybrid thing, like True Fusion.
Okay.
Right. And so the gal that teaches me does it with me. She's, and and it's fun because we have a neighborhood group of ladies that do it. That. Yeah. And Kima Ogden of the Ogden Foundation. Are you familiar with she and Jonathan?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so she's my friend. So she comes over just about every day and we work out together. So the 3 of us and sometimes 4 of us. And then I do heavy weight training. Now, that would be a surprise to most. But I like it because it really does. There's some people just really respond to, and I would have no shape at all if I didn't do it. And so I love that because it keeps me just feeling like I'm really like in survival mode.
Exactly.
It feels like, and it's a gentleman that does that, and he's, kind of a bodybuilder type. But here's the thing is that I get a lot of that, I like to be a strong girl.
Exactly.
I like to be a strong female. And
we believe strong is the new fit. Like that's the most important part.
100%. And so when we work out like that, and literally, I mean, it does make everything like blow drying your hair a challenge.
Oh, yes.
Going to the potty. All of these things, anything where your muscles touch anything.
Yes. You're just like... Okay.
I just think I can't, I can't. And so that's a very good feeling. And then in the morning, my husband and I both, the architect, we both walk around a 3-mile loop. We do that really quick with our 20-pound weight vest on.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So we don't run it, we walk it, but we walk it fast. And then, you use weights and stuff. So it can be a 3-hour thing. But for sure, 2 of those things happen every single day.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. Because here's the thing, mind body. And it really does. I mean, and my husband is certainly not a weightlifter, but his day trajects differently when he does that in the morning. Period.
I'm a big believer in that.
Yeah. It doesn't even work the same if you do it in the evening. I'm sure calorie burn and the physics of the physique and all of that are the same. But that mindset in the morning of really going and getting and connecting with nature and movement and things, and we're meant to do that.
Well, you're oxygenating in the beginning of the day.
Thanks for joining us for today's episode of Bungalow SK. Make sure to follow, rate, and review us on Apple Podcasts. You can also follow and listen on additional podcast platforms, including Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Play, Himalaya, SoundCloud, and Stitcher Premium. Bungalow SK is a member of the multimedia podcast network Athleisure Studio, part of Athleisure Media and Athleisure Mag. You can see our show notes at athleisurestudio.com/bungalow-sk and follow us on Instagram at bungalow.sk to find out who we're talking with, as well as what our guests are up to. Bungalow SK is executive produced by myself and Paul Farkas, with sound editing by the Athleisure Studio team. Our music is courtesy of Icons 8 with Forever Tea performing Renaissance. I'm your host, Kimmy Smith, and I'll see you next week at Bungalow SK.